This is Talk of the Town, a weekly program featuring community events happening in and around Northeast Michigan, with your host, Nancy Smitham, and get the latest from Alpena Community College with Dr. Don McMaster. And now, today's Talk of the Town.
Good morning and welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Nancy Smitham. My first two guests today are both from Child and Family Services right here in Alpena. I have Stephanie Detloff and Amy Kramer. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Stephanie, as we were talking before we started taping, you said your agency had a wonderful year for adoptions, and as the director of Child and Family Services, that must be a pretty rewarding experience for you.
It is. We this year are really happy to be able to celebrate 10 adoption finalizations and hoping to close out 2 before the end of the year. And so there's nothing more rewarding for us as an agency to really know that we've supported a family in obtaining permanency for a child. So that has been really the highlight of our year. We've had a lot of things to celebrate this year, but really moving that child into a place where they have a permanent forever home has just been very rewarding.
Now, did most of these placements start out with foster parents, or how do they normally start?
Yes, most of our placements, because within our agency we kind of have that continuum of care where we license homes, and then we have foster parents who generally will, if the child becomes available for adoption, will move through that process.
Okay.
So most of the families that have finalized the adoptions through our agency this year, that's pretty much how that's occurred. So.
Okay, wonderful. We'll get back to foster care in a moment. And Amy, you're here today to talk about the Day One program.
Yes.
So tell me about Day One.
Well, Day One started up in April. It used to be here through the health department, but there wasn't any more funding available then, but now we've got funding again.
Great.
So the Child and Family Services is taking over that. And I've been given the opportunity to do Day One as a family support specialist. So I'm getting my CDA in that right now, so that's a process, but the Day One program is a really good program for new moms.
Okay. All right, we'll come back to you again. So back to foster care. So how do people become foster parents?
Well, they can contact our agency.
Okay.
We provide a monthly orientation. Currently, we have monthly orientations rotating the second Tuesday of each month.
Okay.
So they can come and be part of that and learn. There's a lot of myths around foster care. There's a lot of people wondering, do they have to be a stay-at-home parent to be a foster parent? So we really, with that orientation, really give all the ins and outs of the challenges that come with being a foster parent, but then also the rewards that come with that as well. So we go through kind of what's required in terms of licensing your home. We go through expectations of what they might, behaviors they might see in a child. So there's a real good formal process to really introduce those that are interested in becoming foster parents of what that looks like.
And then if you do make the decision and you're approved and all of those things, then you're not just set out there on your own. You still have that support.
Right. So we have foster care case managers. When a child's placed in a foster home, our foster care case managers will go into the home and work with the foster parents, as well as if it's a reunification, we also work with the birth parents too towards that. So we really try to offer resources to challenging things that they may be experiencing throughout that time. One of my goals, hopefully this year, is to really establish a professional learning community for our foster parents. So they have more of a peer-to-peer network of support where they can come together and really kind of collectively as a group talk about some of the behaviors and the challenges, and then work towards solutions to kind of help with coping skills, just identifying some of the the needs that I think they all have, but if you don't have that support to really piggyback off of and share ideas, then you kind of sometimes stay stuck. So we're really trying to create some different types of programming for foster parents that offer a different level of support for them than what we've had in the past.
Wonderful. Okay, now you said you work with, your program Day One works with new mothers, and I think about, being a new mother, if you have a mother and a grandmother and family support, and you have all those people that are going to jump in and help, but if you don't, that can be kind of a crazy experience.
Yes, it can. Yep.
So how do you get your referrals for your program?
The referrals come through the McLaren, or Mid-Michigan
Okay.
Mid-Michigan Hospital,
Okay.
as well as the health department.
Okay.
Sometimes I've had referrals from shelter,
Okay.
things like that when there's some concerns.
Okay, and so what kind of things do you do with the mothers and the children?
Well, I set up our first meeting to kind of determine where they fall.
Okay.
We have different levels for each family. And then based on that and the needs of the family, I mostly work with the moms in doing different activities with the children to develop their their development, growing, and sometimes the moms just don't know what it is that they need to do, and sometimes there's household things that they can use as toys that they didn't know, so there's that kind of thing. There's also resources that I provide for them. If they're a family that needs transportation, we help them with that if we can. There's just a lot of different things, and it's not all just one thing.
All right.
So
Stephanie, if someone's interested in thinking, I've always wanted to be a foster parent, time is right now in my life, what would they do?
So they can contact our agency. Our number is 989-356-4567. Stacy Bauer is our licensing, our child welfare supervisor, and she oversees our foster care licensing program as well. And so she would be the one to contact with respect to learning more about becoming a foster parent. And then also she would be the go-to person if there are others who are interested in registering for some of our orientations that we're doing. So right now we're primarily doing our orientations here in Alpena, but we're hoping to expand. We cover 11 counties.
Oh, wow.
So we'd really like to expand these orientations and really serve some of the other counties that we haven't been that visible in recent years. So we're really kind of focusing effort on bringing that outreach to those communities as well, to bring more foster parents within our region.
Okay, and then Amy, same thing. If there's a teacher, a practitioner, someone out there that says, hey, I know a young mother that could really use some help, how do they contact you?
they could call me also at Child and Family Services at 356-4567, and I'm at extension 208.
Okay.
So they could give me a call.
Yeah, and one thing with Day One, so Day One has been out of Alcona County for, well, Child and Family for the last 5 years, and we were really excited to bring this program into Alpena and hopefully eventually expand as well. And since we started in April, we've received over 140 referrals for this program, which is just really kind of speaks to the need and the desire of this program. What's great about this is this program offers a lot of experiential learning and hands-on within the home, so it really helps parents, new moms and dads, Amy works with dads as well, like establish routines, know what to expect when you're expecting. So there's just a whole holistic approach for our family support specialists working with these families, and we're currently working through an accreditation process through Healthy Families America, and so we're really fine-tuning our program according to the best practice standards that this model offers.
Okay, thank you both very much for being here. We're out of time, and I look forward to hearing more wonderful news.
Thank you.
Please stay tuned. I'll be right back with Katie Wolf from Thunder Bay National Marine Sanctuary. Hi, welcome back. I'm with Katie Wolf from Thunder Bay National Marine Sanctuary. Good morning, Katie.
Good morning.
And today we want to start out talking about Giving Tuesday, a very, very special and important day at Thunder Bay National Marine Sanctuary.
It really is. Giving Tuesday, one of the things that might surprise people is about a third of the funding that we raise from individual donations takes place on Giving Tuesday.
Wow.
And so the amount that we raise, which has been somewhere between $7,000 and $8,000, think about that as 500 students getting to go out on the Lady Michigan to learn about water quality, water testing, the environment. It's a pretty important day for us.
And if you raise $7,500, Jeff Gray will put the turkey suit on and jump in the river again.
Bless his heart.
Yes.
He will, because it is mighty cold out there. But he does that as a way to give people an incentive and raise awareness. And it does tend to work.
Yes, it does. So Giving Tuesday, how do we participate?
So on Tuesday, starting at 12 a.m. in the morning and going through 11:59 p.m., it's 24 hours of giving. So you go to the Community Foundation for Northeast Michigan's website, and it's CFNEM, CFNEM Giving Tuesday. And then everybody who's participating will have a little tile that pops up on that page. And you can give, I think there's over 60 organizations.
Wow.
So for the Friends of Thunder Bay National Marine Sanctuary, we hope that you will go to that tile and click it and make a generous donation, because that's really how we support our education programs throughout the year. You know, things like the Thunder Bay International Film Festival, the Maritime Festival, all the education programs, our museum exhibits, those are the things that we have to raise money locally for that. We get federal support more for the research staff and work with the shipwrecks, but all the educational programs that we do with the school children and the public, we have to raise the funding ourselves with the Friends of Thunder Bay National Marine Sanctuary.
And speaking about the film festival, you have a series coming up?
We do. The next thing coming up is December 13th, and that's actually a lecture where Russ Green, who has been with the sanctuary for years and has been working over in Wisconsin trying to get a new sanctuary set up, will be coming back and visiting, and he will talk about the Christmas ships, the Christmas tree ship, which is just a fascinating story and very heartwarming. And so I understand that right now, like this week, the Coast Guard is keeping the tradition of the Christmas tree ship going and loading the trees in Sheboygan right now to take to Chicago.
Terrific.
So that'll be a great story. So that's December 13th.
Okay.
That'll be starting at 7 p.m.
Okay.
It'll be in the theater. And those programs, the lectures and the cinema series, they have been packing the theater, so
That's
it's
what I hear.
good to get there early. It's really exciting.
Okay, and then you do have a film series.
We do. We have, it's going to be Project Ship Hunt.
Okay.
And so that is also in December. Or,
Okay.
let me see, that's actually yes, it's in December. And then that'll also help kick off the film festival. It'll be
Yes.
the first night that the Thunderstruck tickets are available.
Okay, and I'm sure that the film festival is going to be fantastic, as it always is.
Oh, we're really excited this year. Volunteers have been coming in and viewing the films and making the selections. And so we'll start promoting that after Thanksgiving. And we have some great community sponsors. We're very, very excited that Chemical Bank has come on board again as our lead sponsor. We just learned that we got a $5,000 grant from the Michigan Film and Digital Office, which is really wonderful. That's the first time that we've gotten a grant of that size for the film festival. And so our theme this year for the student films is Exploration Is, and that's going to carry out pretty much throughout the film festival.
Okay, and then let's talk about membership. If you want to become a Friends of Thunder Bay Sanctuary, tell me all about that.
Well, this is our membership drive time, and so we're really encouraging people in the community who enjoy having the sanctuary here and appreciate what we do, in the community, to become a member, because again, that's funding that allows us to support our local activities. And so with the membership, there's different levels of the membership, and right now we're having our membership drive, and so people are getting things in the mail, and we'll be sending out messages electronically. And so when we have that membership base, it gives us a source of funding to do a lot of things. One is for the activities here, everything stays local, but we can also use that money to match when we write grants, because a lot of grants require matching dollars, and they want to see that you have that local support. So if we don't have a strong membership, it's very difficult to leverage those grants. And we bring hundreds of thousands of dollars into the community that get spent here when we use that local money to match those grants.
So give me an idea of some of the things the Friends would do.
Right now, we do a lot of fundraising types of things, but if you go into the museum and you look at the exhibits, those are supported by the Friends. If you look at the staff that work there, and then in the summer we bring on AmeriCorps workers and other staff, local younger staff in the community who help with Alpena shipwreck tours. So all of that is funded through money that the Friends raises. And the Alpena shipwreck tours is something that we, the Friends, manage. The boat, and we offer a majority of the trips that we offer, or the cruises, are actually for school groups. And so those we do not, those obviously are not at the same rate that we charge individuals. And we do a lot of community cruises too that are pro bono as a way to help the community understand the work that we do and also experience the Great Lakes. So those are some of the things the Friends do. One of the things we did, we wrote wrote a grant and we added a water filtration system to the dive tank, which now the state police were there a couple weeks ago. I think we had like 50 different vehicles there from all over the state using that dive tank for search and rescue training. So that's, again, money coming into the community through some of the work that the Friends does. And they stay overnight, so that's money being spent in restaurants and hotels.
So how do we find out about everything you've talked about again today?
If you go to thunderbayfriends.org, it's on our website, or you can follow us on Facebook at Thunder Bay Friends. Or you can give me a call at the sanctuary, and I'd be glad to tell you more details about a membership.
Okay, well, thank you so very much, and I hope that you raise the money, because I always enjoy seeing Jeff jump in the river. And tell everyone there we said thank you for all the wonderful things you do in our community.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Please stay tuned for Dr. Don McMaster following these messages.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Dr. Don McMaster. I'm president of Alpena Community College, and I'm pleased to have as our guest this morning Rachel Marie McMaster, my daughter, and new institutional research analyst at Mott Community College in Flint. Welcome, Rachel.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the community college world.
Man, I'm happy to be here. I really am. It was one of those things that when it dawned on me that that was what I should be doing, it really felt right. I grew up at ACC.
Yes. Tell us about the influence of ACC, if you would.
Absolutely. So, I mean, as long as I've been around, you've been at ACC.
True.
I used to be over at the East Campus building.
Yes, indeed.
And I grew up there, and I actually talked about this in my interview at Mott, about going to basketball games and seeing all of the pendants, Alpena and Delta, and then Mott, Macomb and Mott was right there. So Mott had been on my radar forever, in part because ACC was in my life forever.
Sure.
So
it's been in a lot of our lives, for sure, and certainly mine and our family's life. And then you had the opportunity to do some dual enrollment as you were coming through APS.
I did probably about a semester's worth of credits before I got to college at Marquette in Milwaukee.
Yes.
So that was very helpful. I'm sure you and Mom appreciated that one quite a bit. So I did several, and I even took classes during the summers when I came home. It was just wonderful. And I went to grad school. I'm actually still in grad school, and I thought I wanted to be an academic, and it didn't feel right anymore. And I started thinking about the ways that community colleges have affected me personally, but more importantly, how they can help a community, especially one in need. I look back to 10 years ago when ACC was really one of the main fixtures in helping get the community back in step. After lots of jobs went away.
Yes, the Fletcher paper thing.
Yes. And I see Mott doing something similar after the water crisis.
Yeah.
And that's just been phenomenal.
Interesting. Yes. Marquette was a wonderful place for you, wasn't it?
I loved Marquette. I went back for the first time since I graduated. This would have been in March, around spring break. I took my fiance up. It was his first time to Milwaukee. That was maybe the best decision I've made, apart from moving into the community college life.
Yeah.
Marquette was an incredible institution. I would recommend it to anyone. I got an exceptional education among really interested and, but not, what's the word I'm looking for? It wasn't overly snooty in a way that getting an exceptional education can be.
Yes.
It was a lot of really down-to-earth people who were passionate about doing the same things I was, and that was great.
And then you launched to Syracuse for a doctorate.
I did. Right after I finished at Marquette in 2014, I went to Syracuse, the Maxwell School of Citizenship and Public Affairs.
Yeah, a very highly regarded institution.
It is. It is. There's lots of people that have come out of Maxwell. Really significant people. So I'm in my 5th year. I'm writing my dissertation. I was in the job search while writing my dissertation. That's been interesting. But I'm probably about a year away from being done with that.
Yeah.
And then I'll be Dr. McMaster as well, and I'll follow in your footsteps.
Wonderful. That's
Yes.
so great to hear. I had the delight of watching you teach as part of your
Yes.
doctoral program, and I hope you don't give up academic pursuits forever.
No.
Because you're very gifted in front of the class.
Absolutely. Well, and that's the beauty of the job I took, is that I can still teach on an adjunct basis at night.
Wonderful.
But the benefit, instead of adjuncting sort of in the long term, is that you know, I would be making vacation money instead of rent money at the adjunct job. So that would be very helpful.
Yes, we treasure our adjuncts, but it's a tough road.
Yes.
For folks who are doing it in hopes of becoming full-time faculty, which are hard positions to get in a just kind of a global or Midwestern climate of declining enrollment.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
So tell us about Mott. You're doing institutional research. What's your feeling about Mott, and what is institutional research? We got about 2 minutes left.
Okay. Well, institutional research is, in a lot of ways, the backbone of community colleges generally, because it's producing all of the data needed to make the institution run and all the analyses. So what I'm doing as the senior institutional research analyst.
1 week into the job.
Yes. There's not a junior institutional research
Oh,
analyst.
okay, I got you.
But yes, I'm crunching numbers and coming up with analyses that help administrators like yourself make decisions about how to run the college. Mott is quite a bit bigger than ACC, so there's more that needs to be done, sort of just volumetrically. Mm-hmm. But the challenges are all the same.
Mott is a wonderful school in a somewhat widely perceived to be a troubled community.
Mm-hmm. But it has been a bastion of goodwill and success in Flint, and that was what really drew me to it.
Yes, for decades.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, well, your point about data is extremely important. There's compliance level data that schools of all sizes have to submit to the feds and the state to stay in compliance with federal financial aid, things of this nature that are essential for many of our students to be able to attend community colleges. So that has to get done. But looking at success data of why certain things are working or not working, that has a real important piece. So we have about 20 seconds left, so anything you want to share with the viewers about your excitement of moving ahead?
Well, I'm delighted to be back in Michigan, for one thing. You know, I did a lot of wandering over about a decade, and I'm back home, and I'm doing important work in a place I'm passionate about.
Wonderful. Great to have you back.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel, and thank you, folks, for watching Talk of the Town. We'll see you again next week.
This has been Talk of the Town with your host, Nancy Smitham and Dr. Don McMaster. For a list of community events taking place in Northeast Michigan, please visit our website at wbkb11.com and click on our community link. This has been a Thunder Bay Broadcasting Corporation production.